Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're talking about something exciting for y'all. We're going to be talking about the Super Hawg. That's right, the Super Hawg from Milwaukee. Not the regular whole hog, but the Super Hawg, right? So the Super Hawg is a right angle drill from Milwaukee. We're going to go over this tool top to bottom, see how it stands up against other tools that are currently on the market, and just compare to regular drills too. So stick with us. Alright you guys, so this right here is the Milwaukee M18 FUEL SUPER HAWG from Milwaukee Tool, model number 2809, alright? And they do make a regular whole hog, but this one here is the Super Hawg, right? The Super Hawg is just a little bit bigger, has different types of gearing, and the front end of this is all different. But anyways, before we get into that, let's just talk generally about this review. This is not going to be a review where we just take this tool and drill a bunch of large diameter holes, right? There's probably plenty of reviews that are out there that do that, and it's going to be pretty standard, obvious that, you know, this tool is going to be able to do that job because it's designed to do that job, you know, from the ground up, right? You know, doing all that stuff, you know, I'm sure it's fun and stuff, but doesn't really see how it stacks up against other tools that are currently out there. So I'm telling you now, it's not one of those reviews where we just do that. What we are going to do is we're going to go over this tool and then also do the exact same test that we do with all the other drills that we've done so far and see how it compares doing those tests from a regular, you know, drill to a right angle, you know, stud and joist type drill, right? So before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and just talk about drills in general, right? Like we said, they make a smaller version of this, and then this is the Super Hawg version. They do make a quick lock version, right? And then this one right here is the Jacobs chuck. The Jacobs chuck, I believe, is a little bit more versatile, at least in my case, mainly because I'm not like a plumber, electrician, or whatnot, where we're just in every room trying to drill out like 3 to 5 different size holes, you know, for rough ends and stuff like that. We kind of just need to use this tool for everything, whether it's mixing mud, mixing concrete, drilling holes, you know, large diameter holes or whatnot. So the Jacobs chuck allows you to be more flexible. But whether you get the quick lock version or the Jacobs chuck version, the tool is the same. It's really just the chuck that's different, all right? So versus a regular drill, you know, obviously a right angle drill has its own benefits depending on how you like want to hold it and leverage, and especially if you're doing larger, heavier duty tasks, you get a lot more leverage. So let's get into the marketing hype and then we'll take a better look at it. This right here is the Milwaukee M18 FUEL SUPER HAWG half-inch right angle drill. It's designed to deliver next generation groundbreaking performance with power and speed to replace the corded right angle drill. With its 6 amp hour high output battery, it's designed to deliver up to 102 and 9/16 holes, 6-inch beams per a battery charge. The Milwaukee Super Hawg features the POWERSTATE Brushless Motor, REDLINK Lithium electronics, and is powered by the Milwaukee REDLITHIUM High Output Batteries. This one, the 2809, features a half-inch all-metal keyed chuck for ultimate durability and tool life. It has an LED light, and it is designed to give you maximum performance and runtime to complete single-family home rough-ins or the ability to rough in multiple multi-family units on a single charge. What you really want to take away from here is that it's got a ton of power, all-metal keyed chuck. It does not have a hammer function. It is cordless, obviously. It weighs a whopping 14.9 pounds, so that's 15 pounds, and it's about 20.5 inches long. If you buy it as a tool only, the tool is warranted for 5 years. If you buy it as a kit, the batteries are warranted for 3 years, and the maximum RPM for this thing is 1,550. All right, you guys, so let's go off and start with this handle. This handle, they said it was all metal, and yes, all the important parts are metal, like this part here, but you know, this part here is plastic. It does thread in really nice and easily right here, and exactly on the other side of the tool if you wanted to hold it on that side for whatever reason, okay? But it does work really well. All you do is thread it in tight, and it's pretty stiff. There's every once in a while I wish it was longer once I'm doing something that's, you know, really heavy duty, but it's a good length and it works generally pretty well, okay? So going over the stuff here real quick. What we've been told is if you have the regular whole hog, it's a lot shorter. This one is a Super Hawg, so it is a little bit longer. The POWERSTATE Brushless Motor, they said, was an upgrade from the regular whole hog, and this entire front end part was redesigned for this motor to deliver that maximum power and performance. So we've been told, okay? So going over all this other stuff here, if you look at it from this part of the tool, this is the left-hand part of the tool, mainly because, you know, the Milwaukee emblem, logos, and all that stuff is going in here. All this black stuff here is rubber overmolded. This handle right here is completely hard plastic, no rubber overmolding there at all. But as you go down towards this part, you'll see this is where the forward and reverse switch is, right? You can go this way. There is a middle way you can get to. It's not easy because, you know, but it does lock the trigger out. And then as you get down here, it is kind of encased, right? So I haven't had a problem, even if you're wearing big gloves, getting your handles in here, but you know, it's pretty easy. It is also easy to switch back and forth, but it is hard to get it right in the middle because the throw of that switch is pretty short, okay? So moving on back here, well, this is where the key is stored for the chuck, but we'll go ahead and talk about that later. Obviously for a tool like this, there is no belt hook. This is where the belt hook would usually go, but this is not something you put on your belt. This is about 15 pounds, okay? If you put it on your belt, your pants are gonna be falling down. Pretty much here, there's no like rubber overmolding, metal inserts or any of that. You know, it's just pretty standard Milwaukee battery compartment there. Moving on to the left side, pretty much exactly the same. As you can see here, this is where you would thread in that handle. But other than that, all this stuff there, you see a little bit of water coming out of here. We did use it outside a little bit. It gets a smidge wet, but you know, it works pretty well. Front part here, there is no lighting right here. It's pretty standard. And we'll go around and talk about here. This is the Jacobs chuck. There is a different model that comes with a quick lock chuck, but you know, we opted for the Jacobs chuck. So in order to use the Jacobs chuck, the key is stored down here. In order to take the key out, it's pretty simple. You just pull this forward, do whatever it is that you need to, lock it, unlock it, and then in order to put the key back, you want to take this flat part here, put it in, sorry, trying to do it backwards, here, in the slot right here, and then all you have to do is press it in, and it locks in there pretty well. Originally, when I first got this, I was worried that, you know, this part would easily come off and loosen up and break off or we'll lose the key, but that hasn't happened yet, and yes, we've dropped it just a little bit of time, so it's fine. Right here is a high and low. It doesn't go fully around all the way. It can only swivel this way, as you can see, as I'm trying to show you right here. If I try to switch it from here to here, going this way, it doesn't work, right? You have to do it this way. So that is one thing to take away from there, okay? The LED light for this is stored right here, or is parked right there, but you know, other than that, that's what's all really going on here. So front part, pretty standard for the whole hog. This is going on here. On the bottom part, you know, this is where the business end is, okay? So now let's go ahead and talk about the variable speed trigger, because I'm sure somebody's gonna wanna know about that, right? So let's take this 6 amp hour battery here. Right now it is in mode high. We'll start with low. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so let's go to high. As you can see, it's not a like smooth, I mean, it's smooth, but it's not a like soft start. There's a delayed, like semi-soft start, right? It's not like instantaneous. Some will say it's instant, but you know, it feels really nice the way that they've tuned this thing. All right, hope y'all caught those numbers because some of those numbers went by fast, okay? Just in case you did, we're going to recap them anyway, so don't worry. We're going to go over this stuff really fast, but like we said, this is not your standard test and stuff that we did. We did it against like hammer drill type test. So with the 6 amp hour high output XC battery on the 5/16 by 6" lag test, the average of 3 runs comes in at 2.61, and the peak torque average was about 107. It was able to do it on high speed. And on the heavy duty test, 1/2" by 8" lag test, it did have to drop to low speed to get that done, but the average of the 3 runs comes in at 7.38 seconds with the peak torque measured of 481.33 inch-pounds, all right? On the 3/4 inch auger test, it was able to do it on high speed. The average of 2 runs comes in at 6.45 seconds, and we obviously did not run the 1/4 inch masonry test because this is clearly the wrong tool. If you're doing that, then I don't even know what to say, but peak torque that we measured across all the tests that we did with the high amp hour 6.0 battery was 551 inch-pounds, and according to the weight and scale that we measured it at, without the handle but with the 6.0 amp hour battery, it weighed 15.54 pounds. All right. So moving on to the 12 amp hour high output HD battery. On the light duty test, the average of the 3 runs comes in at 2.45 seconds with a peak torque average of 123 inch-pounds. It was able to do it on speed 2. On the heavy duty test, 1/2" by 8" lag, the average of 3 runs comes in at 6.88 seconds and a peak torque measured of around 434 inch-pounds on average. It was able to do it on speed 1, low speed. On the 3/4 inch auger test, it did take 6.11 seconds on average for the 2 runs. It did do it on speed 2, and again, we did not run the masonry test. The peak torque that we measured with the 12.0 high amp hour output battery was around 472 inch-pounds, and the weight with the 12.0 comes in weighing a whopping 16.53 pounds. Yeah, that's pretty heavy, okay? So let's go talk about the total performance number, right? So the total performance number with the 6 amp hour high output is 16.44, and with the 12 amp hour high output was 15.43. That puts it in 19th place with the 6.0 and 17th place with the 12.0 on the leaderboard, okay? So everyone's going to be wondering, how do you get those numbers, right? We pretty much take the sum of the averages of each test, and then we come up with the total performance ranking. How do we do that? You know, we run all the tests with one battery, and then we let the tool rest for hours, if not days, come back and then do it with the 12, do it with a different battery. So it all starts all fresh, all cool and everything. So that's pretty much how that works, okay? Everyone's going to be wondering, well, this feels like it has so much more power and all that stuff, but the ranking is so low, right? So let's go take a look at why that is. The short answer is the ranking is low is because this is designed to deliver a lot of torque and power, but at low speeds. And that's really the answer. So let's go take a look at why that is, right? So this tool, max RPM was around 1,550 RPMs. If you look at all the tools, I'm just only looking at the top 10 right now, all those tools are, RPMs are between 2,000 to 2,600. The 2,600 is Makita XGT, the 2,000s are, or the 2000 is pretty much most of the all the other ones. I think even the Gen 4 Milwaukee and the Metabo HPT even had 2,100 RPMs. The Flex, if you have turbo engaged, the turbo speed is 2,500 RPMs, but as if you've seen that video, the turbo doesn't always work because, you know, the tool has to be certain enough cool and the battery has to be cool enough for that to work. So some of the tests ran with turbo, some of the tests didn't, right? So like I said, those are all 2,000 RPMs. I'm just going to say this tool here is a maximum RPM of 1,550. So it's significantly down on RPMs. And let's go take a see where that looks, or let's go take a look at where that really makes a difference. So if you look at the 5/16 by 6" lag, the light duty test, the top 10 scores are all around pretty much the 1 point something seconds. And then on this tool, it was around 2.45 seconds with the high output 12.0, right? So, you know, that RPM is really hurting there. And with the heavy duty lag test, yes, all the tools had to do it on speed 1, but the range is probably going to be, you know, slimmed down, obviously, with the according to the max, right? Even though it is on speed 1, right? So on speed 1, this tool was able to complete that challenge with the 12.0 at 6.88. If you look at The top 10, most of them are around 4, 5, and then we started getting into 6s with the Gen 4 fuel hammer drill, right? 3/4 inch auger test, almost all of these were able to do it on speed 2, and on this one, it was able to do it on 6.11 with the 12. All the other ones on top 10 are in the 4 point something seconds, right? And all of that stuff really comes down to really mainly the RPM difference, right? So, let's go ahead and, just look at this tool. So this is a great tool, right? This tool is designed to deliver a lot of power and torque at a lower RPM, right? If you're doing rough-ins and stuff, you don't necessarily need the fastest RPM. You need to be able to cut through or deliver that power to cut those hole saws or whatever to get this thing done. And that's really where this thing excels. So don't be fooled by the stuff on the leaderboard, because, that test was designed for mainly, power and timing and performance and speed, right? Whereas this thing is designed for just pretty much delivering power and getting stuff done. So this is the tool that you really want to use when you're drilling like large diameter hole saws or even just like big augers, because that's exactly what this tool is for. Last time we used this tool was with, I think it was like a 4-inch hole saw on concrete. Yes, you could probably get that one done with some of these other ones, but we were boring something, a pipe through a brick wall, so that's pretty simple. But the main reason we really had this tool is mainly because we had to rough in a laundry room, and if you're roughing in a laundry room, you got smaller diameter holes for the PEX lines, and you got large diameter holes for the drains, and you're kind of roughing through multiple different studs and sometimes floor joists and stuff like that. So it was really nice to do that. The one thing I will tell you that's really nice about using this tool versus just a regular drill, even with the handle, to get that done, is there is so much less user input required, user force resistance required in order to break even or to get those tasks done, right? So especially on the heavy duty test, the 1/2 inch by 8 inch lag test, this tool, one, it has so much mass or weight to it, there's less fighting towards it, but also because the tool is so long, you can just use your body and the handle, you got so much more positioning. It is so much easier to get even some of those tests done that we did on the leaderboard, right? The one exception was the light duty test. Yeah, this tool was just too heavy to deal with that light duty stuff easily. I mean, you can definitely do it, but it's a lot easier to do it with a lighter tool. But like I said, if you're putting in a lot of power to get this thing, or to get the holes and stuff like that done, just use your body and the handle. And that handle actually gives you so much more leverage that it's much easier to get those types of tasks done using a tool like this, okay? And on this tool, the handle is easily screws in. It's a full metal contact, so you don't really have, too much wiggle room and stuff like that. So the other main thing I found out about this was, as we were using this with 4-inch earth augers, it does work pretty well, but down here there is so much hard clay. One thing we found was on speed low, on low gear, there is a clutch, and it will just keep clutching out if you hit some really hard rocks or clay or something like that. On speed 2, for some reason, I don't know if there is no clutch, but we did not experience it clutching out, right? So I'm more likely to say there is no clutching out on speed 2, which is kind of worrisome, because sometimes you're going to be using something, probably you could be drilling in high speed, hit a nail or a bolt or something, and it'll probably rip your arm off if you're not holding it right. But that's probably why you really need to use both when you're drilling. So most of the time when I'm using this tool, I'm almost always using this handle, not necessarily like this. Every once in a while, there was a couple times when drilling between joists and floor joists, and even or drilling upwards like this, wasn't using that handle, but that's mainly because it's just really awkward to fit between floor joists and stuff like that. This tool is obviously the best tool to use when we're mixing, or we use it a lot when we're mixing, drywall mud and concrete. It is so much easier than using even just a drill, normal drill. Like I said, because of the mass and the leverage you have with this, there's so much less user input required to get that done. This is definitely a tool for that. If you use other tools, you'll probably just burn those drills up. So other than that, let's answer the question, would I go out and buy this tool again? If you're looking for a right angle, heavy duty type drill, definitely yes. If you're in the Milwaukee platform, this is definitely the one to get. We do also have the Makita one. We just got it a couple weeks ago, and we've been using it. We haven't had it long enough yet, but eventually we'll get the Makita one, and eventually we'll get the Makita review out, and we can kind of compare it, right? But one thing I will tell you is that while this is a beast of a drill, we did buy this tool. Nobody sent this to us. It's not a sponsored video, but would I go out and buy this again? like I said, definitely yes. If you're in the, rough in type business, or if you need to do a bunch of rough ends or anything just heavy duty like that, definitely go get this tool. Other than that, that's all I can really say. It's a great tool. I don't expect to see any issues with it. If we ever do, we'll let you know. I hope this video helped you guys out. Have a great day. See you guys next time.